right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. First of all, I want to thank the Golden State Warriors for hosting this, and of course, the incredible Golden State Warriors Senior Vice President of Communications, Raymond Ritter, for assisting and helping put this together. I am truly excited and delighted to announce the USA Basketball Men's National Team coaching staff led by head coach Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra, Mark Few, and Monty Williams as assistant coaches. Obviously, it's an incredible staff, great experience, very talented. And Coach Kerr is someone who has had remarkable success at all levels throughout his basketball journey, some of which I'm going to reference here so I don't get it wrong. But as a player, he won 5 NBA championships, led the University of Arizona to the NCAA Final Four, was a member of the last U.S. team comprised of collegians to win a FIBA World Cup, and he is considered one of the game's greatest three-point shooters ever. And as a coach, he's renowned for cultivating outstanding chemistry and providing invaluable leadership as he has led Golden State to enviable success, numerous records, and 3 NBA championships. In his role most recently as an assistant coach for Coach Popovich and the 2017 through 2021 USA national teams, he gained valuable insight and coaching experience both with the USA national team and in FIBA competitions. And he helped lead the U.S. to a gold medal finish at the Tokyo Olympic Games. In my opinion, basketball people would agree that he is the ideal candidate for the USA national men's basketball team. Coach Kerr's success as an NBA coach and his USA basketball experiences make him the ideal coach to lead us into the future. And so without further ado, I want to announce and give the floor to Steve Kerr, head coach, USA basketball men's national team.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Grant. What an incredible honor and opportunity. It is truly humbling. People say that all the time, but this is truly humbling when I think about how few coaches have ever had this opportunity to be the coach of the Olympic team and of USA basketball, and how many amazing candidates there are out there. So I have been very, very blessed, very lucky in my career, and this opportunity is the result of being in the right place at the right time, working with the right people, having a lot of people lift me up along the way, and then, given the opportunity to be part of USA basketball over the last few summers. So first I want to thank you, Grant, Sean Ford, Jim Tooley, General Martin Dempsey, all the senior members of the USA Basketball Committee. Thank you for the opportunity. I also want to thank Jerry Colangelo and Greg Popovich for the opportunity to be part of the staff over the last 3 summers. There's no question that the reason I'm sitting here now is because of that opportunity. So thanks to Pop and Jerry. And I will say that the experience I've had over the last few summers has been just an incredible basketball and life experience. To coach with Pop, to experience both the World Cup and the Olympics, it's a really unique situation. It's a unique environment. It's basically a 6-week sprint where you get the players together and you get the coaching staff together and you got to figure out a way how to win pretty quickly. And I think back to this past summer in Tokyo, winning the gold medal, doing so with a group of players and coaches, we will share that bond for life. And I think the same thing that attracts players to want to play for the national team is what attracts coaches. So I know for me, working with Pop, working with Jay Wright, Lloyd Pierce, Ime Udoka, Chip England, Will Hardy, Jeff Van Gundy, every day in that coach's room first in Vegas and then in Japan, was just incredible. The learning environment, the chemistry, the buzz you feel as you're trying to accomplish something together, and then to meet with the players, after your meeting and try to put it all together. It's the ultimate challenge and the ultimate high as a basketball coach to experience this. I could not be any more excited, thrilled about the staff that we've put together. Any one of these guys could be the head coach. Eric Spoelstra, Amani Williams, Mark Few, all so qualified. All have been involved with USA Basketball, and I can't wait to get to work with those three gentlemen and with the other staff members that we'll put together over the next couple of years. Finally, I want to thank the Warriors because, I've had one coaching job in the NBA with the Golden State Warriors, and my life has been enhanced beyond belief by coming to the Bay Area and working in this organization with Joe Lacob and Peter Guber and the rest of the ownership group, Bob Myers, all the assistant coaches that I've enjoyed having by my side over the years, and most importantly, the players, Steph, Draymond, Andre, Clay, down the list. Those are the guys who are responsible for me sitting here, because you don't reach this level unless you have success, and you don't have success unless you have players. So I want to thank the Warriors and thank all of our players, and that's a good reminder that you got to get some players for us in the next couple of years. Thank you.
We will get some players indeed. Now, are there any questions?
Yeah, you kind of just referred to it there, but obviously your post-playing career, it was TV, it was GM. I think you always have talked about wanting to eventually get to coaching, but now you're Team USA coach. You seem very solidified here with the Warriors. Do you just kind of view this as this is just kind of your career moving forward until basically retirement, essentially?
Yeah, I just sometimes I think back on my career and I just sort of wonder how it all happened. Grant and I first really got connected in Phoenix when I was GM and he was a player, and to think back at all the opportunities I've been given and that I've received, it's sort of remarkable. It's and as I mentioned, it really is a matter of being very fortunate with the people around me. I think back to the coaches who I've played for, Coach Olson at Arizona, and also with the USA Basketball in 1986, and all of my NBA coaches, Cotton Fitzsimmons and Lenny Wilkins, Craig Popovich, Phil Jackson. I've just sort of continued to find this path where I've had amazing people around me who have guided me, and somehow the path continues, and I'm not going to stop and think about it too much because I'll wonder how it happened, but it's happened. I'm here. I love every second of every day preparing to coach basketball. It's a dream job, and doesn't get much better than being the coach of the USA basketball team. So I'm thrilled.
You have a couple quick ones. First off, you've accomplished so much in your career already. What was it like getting the call that you were the guy for this job?
Well, it was a surprise, to be honest with you, even though we spent the whole summer together in Tokyo, and Grant was with us in Las Vegas. But, Sean Ford, getting to know Sean over the last few years, it was just a wonderful experience to be part of USA Basketball. But you just don't stop and think, oh, maybe I'll be the head coach. It's not something you even dream about. So you don't even afford yourself that time and say, I wonder if you just put your head down, you work. So when this call came, it was gave me chills. It's opportunity of a lifetime, and I can't wait to work with all these guys.
And the second one is, we asked Steph about it last week, and he said, Steve knows my schedule. A lot can obviously happen between now and then, but how confident are you that he'll be with you
You're talking about with Team USA. We'll see. You know, these things are very fluid. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years working with Pop and Sean and Jerry. You just sort of have to let things unfold because every player's circumstances change constantly. And if Steph is healthy and wants to play, I'm pretty sure I could convince Grant and Sean to put him on the roster. But
I thought you had a scoop or something.
yeah, it would be wonderful. But you just never know how this thing is going to play out, and it's a lot of time between now and then.
Steve, how quick did this all come together from when you got the call in the job offer to you accepting, to you helping put together your coaching staff?
Well, I think maybe I'll let Grant answer that because it's there's a process that has to happen with this hiring, and so there's a few hurdles to get over, and I don't know how much you want to share, but there's been a process that has led to this point. But as I said, from coaching over the last few summers with Team USA to now, it's something that I knew if it were an opportunity that came up, I would be very interested.
Yeah, no, I'll just chime in. The great thing, talking with Steve, gauging his level of interest, getting to a point where I felt he was the right guy, the right person who's uniquely qualified for this role and this responsibility. And, obviously USA Basketball has a number of stakeholders. And so making sure that that is discussed and everyone's on board, which thankfully happened. So that took some time to get to this point. But no, Steve was my number one choice. And thankfully there were some great options out there, as Steve alluded to, in both the college and the NBA ranks. But I think because of a unique set of experiences, I think his basketball acumen, I can go down the list of reasons we all know, Steve was the guy, and we had to go through the process, which I won't bore you with what that is, but ultimately we got to this point where we are now. We're very thrilled.
You've built relationships with Pop through him being your coach as a player and then also being on the USA coaching staff together. So what coaching tendencies have you observed from him both as a player and then as one of his assistant coaches that you hope to implement both here with the Warriors and then also Team USA?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Pop has been my mentor for many years. I consider all of my coaches who I've had in the NBA and in college and coaches I've had on this staff to have been instrumental in my growth as a coach. I mean, I started coaching at a very late stage, 49. I was 49 when I took this job. So I had a lot to learn, but Pop, given that he's been coaching during that entire span, he's really been my mentor. So, having played for him for 4 seasons and then picked his brain over the last 7 or 8 years and then the opportunity to work with him, I've learned so much, not just about the game, but about people, about culture. And so a lot of what we do here in Golden State is based on what I learned from Pop. But the one thing he taught me that really all my coaches shared with me was you have to be yourself. You can't try to be somebody else. You have to be yourself. And I think that was the best advice I could have heard from the beginning. As long as you're authentic and genuine, now you can implement things that you've learned along the way. And certainly the things that I learned with Team USA over the last few years, which I think is crucial, given that it's such a different environment. It's a 6-week sprint, as I said. I learned so much about the FIBA game, about how we need to approach things. Those experiences with Pop and the entire staff will be huge for me going forward.
Steve, you just alluded a couple times to the 6-week sprint. How different is coaching Team USA, coaching international basketball, than what you do all the time with the Warriors? What different skill set and approach do you need in this new job?
Well, number one, the game is very different. The FIBA game is different from the NBA. 40 minutes, very different rules, different vibe to the game. It almost feels like an NCAA tournament game rather than an NBA game. There's this idea that you've got to figure out your rotations pretty quickly, and your roster for that matter. And you've got to do everything on the fly with the staff. It really is a collaborative effort, which is what makes it so much fun. The NBA, you have anywhere from 7 to 9 months for your team to develop, and you can slowly add things here or there. You can't do that in 6 weeks. So you've got to be really clear and concise about what you're teaching and why, and you got to get right to it. And ultimately, it's the talent and ability of the players that either gets it done or not. But it's our job as coaches to put those guys in the very best position to succeed, and I look forward to that.
You've spoken out a bunch over the last several years on topics you're passionate about. It's obviously such a unsettled time in the country. I was just hoping you could give your perspective on wearing the USA, repping from that perspective nationally, and kind of what that means.
Yeah, I could not be more proud to represent my country. As a basketball coach, this is sort of my one opportunity to really represent my country in a very public way. And I know all of the players and staff feel that way. We had an enormous sense of pride in Tokyo this past summer in that representation under Coach Pop and under Jerry Colangelo, and in collaboration with the players. We want to go out and do everything with class. We want to do everything we can to make sure that people in this country are really proud of our efforts, proud of the way we carry ourselves, and proud of the way we represent our country.
Great, I think that's it here in person. This is Craig Miller with USA Basketball. We'll go to our Zoom call and pick up some questions there. Joe, why don't we start with you first?
Great. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Grant. I'm Joe Barton from The Athletic. Congratulations, everybody. Both of you know this and have, heard it over the last couple of years for sure, that maybe the main thing about USA Basketball and the challenges it faces has to do with roster continuity. Just getting the guys that you want on the team to commit and build the familiarity and all that. And so have you two discussed this, and what is your plan to address the idea of getting a multiple year commitment out of the A-list stars to play for Team USA?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Thank you, Joe. I think, Steve and I collectively, along with Sean Ford and the USA Basketball staff, we have an opportunity now moving forward to sort of analyze what's worked, maybe figure out where we can refresh some things, or maybe try or apply things differently. I think the landscape has changed significantly. I also want to say this past year was incredibly challenging and difficult, and the ability to adapt and adjust. I think we all are embodying that in all of our walks of lives, in terms of how to continue forward in the environment that we're in. But we have a chance to really look and dive into some of those things. And Steve and I have talked not just about the roster and how that looks, or the continuity from the World Cup to the Olympic Games, but other issues or other concerns. And so we've had some of those preliminary discussions already, but I think we look forward to really diving in further and examining, okay, where can we be better, or what can we maybe do differently here? What have we learned in recent years or over the course of the last decade? Steve has a pretty significant real job right now, And so we're respectful and mindful of that. But I look forward to personally having these type of discussions and conversations and working together to move forward with USA Basketball and the men's team.
Then my other one I had for Steve, and I apologize if you addressed this, but as you know, both Pop and before him, Coach K talked about just sort of the pressure that they felt to win a gold. And I know the Olympics are 2 years away, and you haven't qualified for them yet. But do you think you'll feel that, or how do you feel now that you have this job? Do you feel that weight that Greg had and Mike before him?
For sure. I mean, I think part of the reason that Coach K and Greg Popovich are Hall of Fame coaches is because they've enjoyed the challenge. They've enjoyed the pressure. That's part of it. I think when we choose this profession at this level, we understand exactly what we're getting into. But with a great challenge comes great reward and satisfaction. And this is really probably a lot harder than people realize, especially given the growth of the game globally, how many good players there are out there, how many strong teams there are out there. But this is something that I embrace. Will I feel the pressure? Absolutely. We all will. But that's kind of the point. It's competition, and we all love to compete, and that's why we do this.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll go to Theo Lawson, who's with the Spokesman Review. Theo, I think you.
Or the Spokesman Review. Can you just talk about your relationship with Mark Few and why you wanted to add him to the staff and what you think he can bring to USA basketball?
Theo, was that for me or for Grant?
For you, yeah.
Yeah. So I've known Mark over the years, always admired him from afar, but really got to know him this past summer when he helped coach the select team with Eric Spoelstra. And we really hit it off. And I think the whole room, frankly, the whole coach's room was blown away by Mark's insight, his perspective. I think it's wonderful to have a college coach as part of the process because the college game is different, just like the FIBA game is different. Jay Wright was amazing. Both Jay and Mark really offered insight that maybe NBA coaches hadn't thought of because the games are so different. So Mark and I really hit it off. I think he hit it off with all the coaches. He is absolutely a no-brainer, one of the great coaches at any level of basketball in our country, and he's going to be amazing to work with.
Next up, we'll go to Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press.
Thank you, Craig. Hi, Grant. My question's for Steve. Steve, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course. I remember seeing you in the mix zone coming off the court after France, and everyone was exhausted. I mean, like you said, it's a 6-week sprint, and it's hard to sprint for 6 weeks, and you guys went through an awful lot in those 6 weeks. I guess my question is, can you kind of take us through the process of after the Olympics, what the decompression was like, when the sense of accomplishment kicked in? Did you get a chance to celebrate it and to breathe it all before you had to jump back, like Grant said, your real job? Just what was, I guess, when it hit you that what you guys had done, what did that end up meaning? Thank you.
Yeah, I think there was about a month before training camp started, and I had grand plans to go to Las Vegas for Summer League and then, come up to the Bay for summer workouts. And when I got back, I realized I'm not doing anything for about 3 weeks. And I stayed in San Diego, which is my off-season home, and just completely checked out. And it was much needed because it is a it is a sprint, and it is exhausting and exhilarating, and you need to come down from all of that. I think the great thing is there's a bond for life with every guy on the team, every guy on the staff. We played the Celtics the other night, and just sharing a moment with Jason Tatum after the game was wonderful. We played Phoenix a couple of weeks ago, and visiting with Devin Booker after the game was amazing. And so, these relationships that you develop quickly, but powerfully, they last forever. And those are the reasons to coach, frankly. The experiences and the relationships, that's what it's all about. So, yes, it's exhausting and exhilarating, and yes, you do need time to come back down, but wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay, we got time for a couple more questions. It is a game day here, and I want to be respectful of Coach Kerr's time. Let's go with Phil Jones, please.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? And congratulations.
Thank you.
Quick question. Well, this actually go for both you and Grant. With the way COVID has been popping up rapidly lately, you guys have some of the qualifying games coming up in February. What are some steps where you guys look to take to make sure this team that you have set up and stays intact without there was anybody, stepping out or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. USA basketball, and Steve can speak to this, having gone through this 6-week sprint this past summer. But the safety measures and precautions that the staff and Sean Ford, Jim Tooley went through this past summer were absolutely incredible. And I had an opportunity to be there for just a week in Las Vegas as the men's national team was preparing to go off to Tokyo. And the safety, the well-being of all the players, the coaches, the staff is of the utmost importance. I think we all know that this COVID environment that we're in is very fluid. We're all experiencing it in the NBA and all professional sports, but I know we'll be diligent. I know we'll be careful and think of the long-term health and wellness of all those that are involved in the qualifying rounds, the upcoming ones. So a lot can and will happen between now and then, but I can assure you that our medical team is certainly on it and doing all we can and following all the best practices and certainly doing what we can to protect everyone.
Okay. My last question is, this goes to Coach Kerr. How much influence has Steph Curry been on the game so far?
That's a very broad and open-ended question. I'll tell you a quick story. We were in Boston the other night, and before the game, there was a game with 10-year-olds being played on the main court, and it was on our screen as we came in for our pregame, pregame scout. We walk in, the game's on, all the guys are watching it, all the coaches are watching it, and about 7 straight possessions, these 10-year-old kids launched three-pointers. And I turned to Steph and I said, Steph, this is all your fault. And all you have to do is look at all the young players coming up, whether they're 10 years old or 21 or 19 coming into the NBA for the first time. Everybody wants to launch from 3. So he's changed the game probably forever. Beyond that, though, for me, just the way Steph carries himself, the way he is so coachable, just sets a tone here for the Warriors. He's the face of our franchise, and I'm incredibly blessed to coach him.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll finish up. Christos, it's good to see you again. We'll finish up with you.
Hello, Coach Kerr. Congratulations, first of all. You coached, you played to Black Dynasty, Chicago Bulls. You won championships. You won championships as a coach. Now, how big for you is to win a gold medal as a head coach of a USA? What it means about your legacy as a coach, as a person as well?
Well, I appreciate the question, Christos. I think the biggest thing as a coach is you don't think about any of that stuff. You just kind of do your job, and you do it because you like it. And I love my job. I've loved coaching since the first day, 8 years ago. And when an opportunity like this comes along, you don't stop and say, well, I wonder what my legacy will be. You just say, man, I can't wait to dive in with the players and the coaches, and you go for it. And when all the dust settles, you just, you keep going forward, and hopefully we will put together a great team and a great effort, and we'll see how we do.